Tonight we have another 2-beer episode. I know what you're thinking, 2 beers, 1 dude. If you get that reference, good for you. If you don't get that reference, good for you. But tonight we have an original, and then we have a bourbon barrel aged version of it. Let's get into it. Fugee is a breakfast ale from Fretboard Brewing Company, 6.1% ABV. I remember having it. I think I rolled through a few of them because I really liked them. Bourbon barrel aged Fugee is just that. It's that breakfast ale aged in bourbon barrels, 10.5% ABV. And I got to tell you, the can art on these is pretty cool. The theming of music, Fugee, we all know what that is. Fretboard, we know what that is. I think they have a red ale that's like Reba McEntire themed, which is pretty awesome. You don't mess with Reba. She is the queen of country music. I'd say it's a toss-up, probably between her and Dolly, right? I mean, Dolly's probably the true queen because she's the OG. She's like, yeah. I'm not going to get into this because there's tons of names actually that we could throw in there. Shout out to Julia from Truth Beer Podsequences for gifting me these two when we were down there. We hung out and she gave me these, and she's been eagerly awaiting. Now, I forgot to grab a glass for whatever reason, so I'm going to do that. And with the magic of editing, it won't take that long at all. I can probably just, well, I don't want to do that because I'll change how I sit and then it's going to look goofy and then you can all make fun of me. So maybe I will do that. Ready? Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to be right here. How'd I do? Pretty bad. It's going to be laughable. I know, but that's all right. So let's start with the OG. Got my trusty Third Eye glass that I love drinking out. Shout out Third Eye. Shout out Fretboard Brewing. We got to get to Fretboard the next time we're down there. Julia, Marco, Gnome, maybe that should be it. We're also talking about higher gravity, and I know we talked about some other things too, but this is one I would definitely like to hit up. So let's give it the old hard pour. You can still give it the hard pour and tip the glass, I discovered. It's just what I do. I pour it hard. Oh my gosh, this smells like a breakfast cereal, right? It smells like not Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but the one with grandma's, like, was it Waffle Toast Crunch or one of those? I don't remember. There was one where grandmas, I think, were always stealing the cereal, or kids were stealing the cereal from grandmas, or is this one of those like weird mind effects where I'm just making this up and it never really happened and I just was super creative when I was a kid, or I had ADHD like I still do now? But I specifically remember now us thinking like it almost feels like there's sausage grease in that they used to brew in this beer, which it wouldn't surprise me if I get that vibe because this thing smells almost like a McGriddle as well. Minus the cheese, I guess. If you just get a McGriddle with the sausage and the bun with the syrup in it, it's kind of giving me that vibe. So let's dive into the taste of this beer. And as always on Half-Ass Beer Review, we do little drink, big drink. Cheers, everybody. It's got a great mouthfeel to it. Nothing like too light. You're hit with like that waffle, that syrup. And I swear, I just don't know if I eat like maple syrup flavored sausages or whatever, buttered sausages, if you know what I mean. This is giving me that vibe. The syrup is so great. It's not overly sweet. It ties in really well with like the base of this beer. I just love this thing. It's all playing really well together. This is a very well designed beer, and it's got an awesome aftertaste to it. You're left with a little bit of like that waffle kind of feel to it. A nice touch of sweetness from the syrup. This thing is just killer. You just want to go back in for more. And what's crazy about it is it's so enjoyable even after the drink. Like, I'm still enjoying the flavors of this beer like after it's gone right now. Like, the flavors are still there, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah, let me finish this one. So I don't know. It's going to be a rough night. It's going to be a rough morning. Time for the moment of truth. We have the bourbon barrel aged Fugee. Whoa, there's some head popping out of here. Let's give it that hard pour. Some people don't like the hard pour, and I don't like some people. So, listen, I got to tell you, I'm already smelling this beer. I'm not even close to it, and I'm already getting that maple syrup vibes. It's a thing of beauty, right? It almost looks a little bit lighter than the OG version of it. It's got a nice little head on it. Oh, wow. Okay, like a nice, sweet bourbon kind of scent to it on this one. The smell coming out of it, it's like a sweet bourbon, maple. Not so much like that waffle vibe that I'm getting. There's a lot of bourbon to the smell of this one, but sweet nonetheless. Holy crap. 10.5% ABV. Let's get into it. As always, on Half-Ass Beer Review, we do little drink, big drink. Cheers, everybody. Hokey, man. Okay. There's actually quite a bit of bourbon to this. And it's not awful, though. Sometimes bourbon can just get in and destroy a beer. This is doing a really nice job. A lot of that maple, a little bit of like that waffle flavor, especially now after I swallowed it. That waffle flavor is really kind of popping off here. That's crazy. It's crazy that I said popping off. I don't think I've ever said popping off until this day. Mark that on your calendar. We'll celebrate it on January 30th of 2026. So let's go in for another drink. Yeah, that's really nice. None of that like icky like liquor bourbon kind of like when it's too overpowering and you get the shakes from it. I'm not doing any of that. It's just a super nice bourbon flavor right up front, and then it kind of rolls into like the maple. And then after you've swallowed and it's kind of just wafting, I guess, in your mouth, you kind of start to pick up on some of like that waffleness. This thing is pretty killer. Now, is it better than the original? I don't necessarily think so, but like this is a solid bourbon barrel aged beer. There's the F word. They have their French Toast Dirty Bastard. I have another bottle of it back there. I really love that. This thing is a lot better. I'll drink this one over that one any day of the week. Now, I don't normally rate beers on this channel, all right? But if I did, the original Fugee, I'm going to give that like a 4.75. That thing is fan-freaking-tastic. I love it. Go out and find that beer. If you can't get it, find someone who can send it to you because it's worth having. If you're in the Ohio, Cincinnati area, go to Fretboard Brewing Company just to get that beer, or stop at a store and pick up a 6-pack of it because it's phenomenal. The bourbon barrel age, that's definitely a 4.75. This thing's fantastic. I really love it. I love the bourbon barrel age of it. I love the process of how it tastes, like of how you're tasting it, at least for me. I love the bourbon up front. I love it rolling with the maple and then into kind of having that waffle bourbon maple thing in your mouth after the swallow's gone. It's a really great experience. It's a really great beer. I want more of it. But that's going to do it for this episode of Half-Ass Beer Review. Thank you all for stopping by. Make sure you check out Truth Beer Podsequences. It's a phenomenal podcast for the Cincinnati beer area. I don't live in Cincinnati. I don't know a lot about the beer. I don't know a lot about the podcasts of beer in the Cincinnati area, but Julia, Marco, and Noam are fantastic. Their chemistry is great, and I'm just listening, and it's a really good time, which you don't get that with a lot of podcasts. You don't even get that on this channel, to be honest, but make sure you check them out. Make sure you check out Banter and Babble for the best pop culture wrap-up, and make sure you check out 7 Dungeons, my friend Drassen the Dungeon Master, for the best Dungeons and Dragons around. I'll put the links down there, and always remember to please keep those fridges full and have a great night.